221 BC, one man did what nobody had managed to do for 500 years. He took 7 kingdoms locked in endless war, 7 cultures, 7 armies, millions of people, and united them into one empire. That man exists in Kingdom. In the anime, he is called Ei Sei. In real history, he was Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. And the young man beside him, Sin, the protagonist, he also existed. The generals you see fighting in the anime, many of them existed too. Some of the battles shown in Kingdom, they really happened. Today, we are going to discover how much of Kingdom is real history and where the author changed things. Because the truth is, in this case, history is almost as impressive as the anime. To understand Kingdom, we need to understand the world it takes place in. This was not yet China as we know it today. This was the Warring States period, one of the most violent and important eras in Chinese history. For centuries, the land was divided between rival kingdoms. By the time of Kingdom, 7 major states dominated the map: Qin, Zhao, Wei, Han, Chu, Yan, and Qi. These were not just small territories. They were powerful states with their own armies, nobles, traditions, laws, and ambitions. Each one wanted survival. Some wanted expansion, and Qin wanted something much bigger: unification. The state of Qin was located in the west. At first, it was seen by many as a rough, military-focused kingdom. But Qin became incredibly efficient. Its government was strict, its army was disciplined, its legal system was harsh, and its leaders were ambitious. This is the world where Kingdom begins. A world where war is normal. A world where generals are legends. A world where one mistake can destroy an entire kingdom. And in the middle of all this, a young king rises with an impossible dream. I will unite all of China. In the anime, that dream belongs to Ei Sei. In history, it belonged to Ying Zheng, the future Qin Shi Huang. Ei Sei is one of the most important characters in Kingdom. He is calm, intelligent, determined, and obsessed with the idea of ending war by uniting the land. Historically, Ei Sei was real. His real name was Ying Zheng. He became king of Qin at a young age and later became the first emperor of a unified China. After conquering the other 6 states, he created the Qin dynasty and took the title Qin Shi Huang, which means first emperor of Qin. This was a massive turning point in world history. Before him, there were separate kingdoms. After him, there was an empire. But the historical Qin Shi Huang was much more complex than the anime version. In Kingdom, Ei Sei is often portrayed as a noble and idealistic ruler. He wants to end war. He wants to create a better world. He believes unification is the only path to peace. Historically, Qin Shi Huang did unify China, but his rule was also extremely harsh. He centralized power. He standardized laws, currency, writing, and measurements. He connected defensive walls that later became associated with the Great Wall. He ordered enormous construction projects, and he ruled with strict legalist policies. So yes, Ei Sei existed, but the real man was not simply a heroic dreamer. He was a brilliant, ruthless, revolutionary ruler who changed China forever. The anime turns him into an inspiring king. History remembers him as both a founder and a tyrant. Now let's talk about the protagonist. In Kingdom, Xin begins as a war orphan with an impossible dream. I will become the greatest general under the heavens. At first, this sounds like a classic anime story. A poor boy with no status, no family power, no noble blood, only ambition, courage, and a weapon in his hand. But here's the crazy part. Xin was based on a real historical figure. His historical name was Li Xin. Li Xin was a general of Qin during the Wars of Unification. He was not just a fictional hero placed inside history. He actually served Qin during the campaigns that led to the creation of the Chinese Empire. However, there's a major difference between the anime and history. The anime shows Xin's entire journey from the bottom, from servant to soldier to commander to general. History does not give us that level of detail. Ancient records mention Li Xin mainly when he is already a military commander. So the emotional journey of Xin, his childhood, his friendship with Hugh, his personal struggles, his rise step by step is mostly fictional, but the destination is real. One of the most famous historical episodes involving Li Xin is the campaign against Chu. Li Xin believed he could conquer Chu with a smaller army, but the campaign ended badly. He was defeated. This is important because it shows something the anime may eventually explore. Xin was not perfect. The real Li Xin was brave and ambitious, but he also made mistakes, and that makes him more human. If we talk about Qin's military power, we have to talk about one of the most terrifying generals in Chinese history, Haku Ki. In Chinese history, he is known as Bai Qi, and Bai Qi was absolutely real. He is remembered as one of the greatest and most brutal generals of the Warring States period. In Kingdom, kingdom, Haku Ki, is treated almost like a legend, a monster of war. A man whose victories shaped the future of Qin. Historically, that reputation is deserved. Bai Qi led Qin armies in several major victories, but his most infamous moment was the Battle of Changping. Changping was one of the largest and bloodiest battles of the ancient world. Qin fought against Zhao in a massive campaign that lasted for years. At the end, Zhao suffered a catastrophic defeat. Ancient sources claim that hundreds of thousands of Zhao soldiers were killed or executed after surrendering. The exact number is debated by historians, but the impact of the battle is not. Changping broke Zhao's military strength, and that changed everything. After Changping, Zhao was never the same. The balance of power shifted heavily toward Qin. This is why Haku Ki is so important in Kingdom. He represents the old generation of Qin generals, the generation that built the path for Ei Sei's dream. But there is also a dark side. Bai Qi was not just a genius. He was feared because his victories came with enormous death. The anime gives him an almost mythological presence. History gets him something even heavier, a legacy written in strategy, blood, and terror. Two of the most iconic characters in Kingdom are Uki and Ri Boku. They represent two different kinds of greatness. Uki is charismatic, theatrical, powerful, and almost larger than life. He is the kind of general who dominates every scene he appears in. Ri Boku, on the other hand, is calm, strategic, patient, and terrifyingly intelligent. Both characters were inspired by real historical figures. Uki is associated with Wang Yi, a Qin general. However, the anime's Uki is heavily dramatized. His personality, his mannerisms, his relationship with the younger generation, much of that is the author's creation. The real historical records do not give us an Oki as colorful and emotional as the anime version. So did Oki exist? Yes, but the version we love in the anime is a major artistic expansion. Ri Boku is different. Ri Boku is based on Li Mu, one of the greatest generals of Zhao, and Li Mu was absolutely real. He is often remembered as one of the most brilliant defensive generals of the Warring States period. He protected Zhao during its final years, even when Qin was already becoming almost unstoppable. That is why Ri Boku feels so dangerous in Kingdom. He is not just a villain. He is not evil for the sake of being evil. He is a patriot defending his state. From Qin's point of view, he is the obstacle. From Zhao's point of view, he is the shield. And historically, Li Mu really was one of the last great barriers standing between Qin and total unification. His fate is also tragic. According to historical tradition, Qin could not easily defeat Li Mu on the battlefield, so political manipulation was used against him. Eventually, Li Mu was removed and executed by his own state. After that, Zhao became much easier for Qin to conquer. This makes Ri Boku one of the most historically interesting characters in Kingdom, because he was not simply defeated by strength, he was destroyed by politics. So, did the characters from Kingdom really exist? The answer is, many of them, yes.